Good morning. Good to see all of you. And thank you, Julie, for the opportunity to share something I'm very excited about that is important in the life of the Fairlington Church, of which my wife and I are now a part of, thankfully, and certainly enjoy the reception and the friendships that we are forming here. It's my privilege to be able to share a little bit about the capital campaign, and to do that, I want to tell you a great story from the Bible that's from one of those books that often goes neglected. It's from the Book of Nehemiah. The book tells the story of what happens when the Jerusalem people who had been taken into exile 70 years later, their children and grandchildren were granted their freedom to return to Jerusalem. And that's what they did under a freedom edict from King Cyrus. And so these next generations distance through the desert and back to Jerusalem, where their ancestors had lived when they were conquered by the Babylonians. And unfortunately, once they got back to Jerusalem, they discovered that it was a city in ruins. During those 70 years of their absence, nothing had been done to repair or rebuild this city that they had heard so much about, that they loved in their hearts. They couldn't wait to get back to, but when they arrived, the city was a disaster. The beautiful temple that they'd heard so much about lay in ruins and rubble, charred ruins. The homes and houses were destroyed, and to make matters worse, the great wall around Jerusalem that provided for its security had numerous breaches. The gates of the city had all been burned, and it allowed for the enemies of Jerusalem to come and go at will anytime they wanted. And there were many enemies of Jerusalem at that time, and they were dismayed that people were coming back and planning to rebuild Jerusalem. Now, in our story, this is where Nehemiah comes in. Nehemiah loves his people, and as he quietly goes around Jerusalem surveying the damage, he decides that the very first priority for the returning exiles is to rebuild the wall. Without a security perimeter, they would never be able to make any progress as a people, and decides that this will be the first priority. And he is an organizational freak. Okay, he would probably drive most of us crazy, but nevertheless, he goes around, he surveys the damage, he draws up blueprints about how they're going to go about rebuilding the wall. He does an assessment of the available physical resources and figures out how they're going to have the materials to rebuild the wall, and even comes up with a security plan that could protect the builders while the reconstruction is underway. The only thing that he lacks is the workers. He has no labor force, much less anything that he might pay workers for, even if he had them. But he has no workers. And so Nehemiah, if nothing else, is resourceful. And Nehemiah goes around and visits every family, every person who is a part of the returning exiles, and recruits all of them and assigns every individual a part of the project that they can do. And he recruits young people who are strong and can carry heavy loads. He recruits older people whose strength has weakened considerably. He recruits children. He recruits all kinds of people. No profession is immune from his recruitment process. He recruits farmers, tailors, people in the market. He even recruits the preachers and the ushers, who claim to have higher business at hand. Everybody there, Nehemiah gives each person a job, and it's a job that is equal to his or her ability. No one is assigned with something that they can't handle. He gives everybody a piece of this project for rebuilding the walls around Jerusalem. And I can imagine families getting together, working with one another, sharing the load and the responsibilities, maybe having cookouts next to the wall. I can imagine people maybe having friendly competition, a Super Bowl of building the wall, something like this. I can imagine the people making a wonderful, joyous part of this. Everybody has a part to do. And it's amazing, in no time, way faster than anybody thought possible, they rebuild the wall around Jerusalem, much to the dismay of all the enemies of Jerusalem, but they rebuilt it. And that's the first priority. And it only happens because every person participates in this. And of course, Nehemiah is constantly going around cheering them all. He provides some brainstorming with whatever obstacles they face, and he makes it possible for it. And the project goes on and is completed in record time. And you know what's really interesting about this is in the book of Nehemiah, he devotes 3 chapters to listing the names of everybody who helps in the project. And now 3,000 years later, we can read their names. It's amazing. It's even better than getting your name on some inscription in the lobby or something like this. This is for eternity. But anyway, we have an opportunity to rebuild this church. Enemies have not come in and have laid waste, but the passage of time has taken its toll over a lot of our facilities, and the needs of our facilities have changed since when this church was first built. And it's time that we go ahead with these projects and plans. And, you know, I have looked at them and I've walked around and looked at the church, and these plans are great and are exciting. And once they're finished, we're all going to wonder, why didn't we do this 20 years ago? But it's going to be a great improvement and make this church a much more inviting and a welcoming place for people of every description, and we can be proud and eager to do that. Unfortunately, we don't have one person who can write a check for $150,000. That would make it real easy, or 2 people for $75,000 each. For this to happen, everybody has to do whatever we can. We all have a part. You know, even if we had 1 or 2 people who could do it, it's much more important that we all do our part. Right now, even though the dedication date is Easter Sunday, is that correct? Over 40 people have already submitted their pledge and want to be counted. And already our goal is $150,000. Already we have reached the 3/4 part in that. So this is something that's going to happen. It's going to succeed. This is not a desperation plan. This is something that's going to succeed and that's going to accomplish great things. But just like the people returning from Babylon to Jerusalem, it's something all of us need to be a part of. We all have a role to play, and the only way we're going to succeed is when all of us carry out what it is that we're being asked to do. And I lost something. We'll find it. This is the pledge card. You probably have received it. There are additional pledge cards in the narthex. You can pick it up. and read it. This is the means by which we respond. We Presbyterians like things in writing, so here it is. And if you have not already done so, I hope that you will take that, pray about it, and find out what you can do to make this happen. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me now invite